welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy and in today's video we are doing a bookshelf spring clean. So as you can tell, these are my bookshelves behind me. They are in a dire strait and it may not seem like that just by kind of looking here, but there are piles of books that do not have their own home, their own shelf space. So that's the goal of today. We are going to be sorting through my bookshelves as well as unhauling a lot of books, because that's what I love the most about this time of year. We are just getting into spring and it is time to go through all of my books and see what actually is worth the shelf space. So join me for this video. I hope this inspires you to do your own little bookshelf spring clean, and stay tuned for the unhaul at the end of the video as well. So as you can tell, the top half of the shelves actually look okay, like they're not too bad. There is this bit here and this is all books that do not fit on the shelf, so I need to do something about those. Panning down is where it gets a lot messier. So we have obviously these books here that do not fit, like they are just bulging out and they do not look good. And then we have this section over here. So this is kind of an extra mini shelf here. Obviously all these books fit in quite nicely, but above the board there is just mess. Like I don't know what I'm trying to do with all of these books. And then I've even got these books on the floor here, which I think I want to unhaul, but I'm not really sure. So this will be part of the unhaul process, going through these as well, seeing what I want to keep and what I don't. So the sun is blinding me a little bit. Hopefully you can all see this in good shape. But anyway, the plan is I'm going to start by just going through all of the shelves, taking off any books that I feel do not deserve their home there. I have to be really, really strict about this. And then I will try and rearrange the shelves and clean the shelves as well. So it really is going to be a bookshelf spring clean in all manners of the word. So let's start with these two top shelves here. So you may have seen in other videos where I have gone through my bookshelves in my past spring cleaning videos, because I do this every year. It needs to be done. This is usually my Sarah J Maas shelf, but it has become a bit unwieldy because Sarah keeps bringing out these like massive books, like these massive tomes that do not fit on the shelf anymore. So my purpose today as well is to kind of like look at this shelf, see if it works, see if I can somehow group together all of Sarah J Maas's books in a way that looks aesthetically appealing and go from there. Okay, so this is what I am left with. I basically pulled out every book that either doesn't fit on that shelf, like it looks strange, or it should be with a kind of sequel or a series, whatever, or I just don't want it anymore. Like I've kind of decided to unhaul it. So I need to now go through all these and decide what I want to unhaul and what I want to rearrange on my wider shelves. But this is what they're looking like now. I need to do a big rearrange of everything because there are a lot of gaps. I'm quite happy with some, like the way that some are looking, but I do think that, I don't know, I just need to switch up the way that some are laid out. So first I'm going to go through all of these and then I will start putting them back on these shelves and redoing them. Hello from my floor. So I've gone through all of the books. I've got a pile of books that I need to unhaul. So I'm gonna go through that in a second, but now I need to put this back on those. And this is the bit I hate, this is the bit that doesn't come naturally to me. So if you are also feeling like, you know, you need to sort out your bookshelves and it's going to be a very difficult, long, old experience, you can do it. This is my motivation to you. If I can do it, you can definitely do it. So I'm going to try and clean, maybe do a bit of a dust around the shelves as well, and try and just make them look a bit different, a bit vibrant, a bit more fun, whilst also making sure that each of these books behind me have their own home. Also, a little tip if you are also trying to redo your shelves and you can't make them fit, by doing a vertical and then a horizontal stack actually really helps. Like, I've kind of done this elsewhere and I just think it looks quite smart. Like, I really like the look of it. So it also helps you fit way more books on your bookshelves. So maybe give that a go if you're kind of struggling to fit everything on your shelves. So I have now finished my shelves. There are still a lot of books that didn't fit on, that I couldn't get rid of just because I knew that I wanted to read them, which made it a little bit more difficult. But I'm really happy with the finished result. So let me stand back and I will show you. So these are the finished shelves, which look so much better, I think, than they did before. Let me show you in more detail. We forget about this. I just had to shove them up there because they would not fit. But I really like the look of this shelf. And these, I like the pop of pinks here. Thought they were really cute. My Sarah J Maas shelf is back in action. Look at them all. So pretty. And we have some more down here as well. The paperbacks. We have some Brandon Sanderson. And then panning down, this is more of a kind of pinks shelf. And I love all my Jane Austen books here as well. I think that's perfect. Panning over to this one, this is mainly like hardbacks that wouldn't really fit, but I kind of like the look of this as well. And then over here, and the bottom shelves honestly were just like awkward shaped books that would not fit anywhere. Now, this is where the trouble is. I could not fit these paperbacks in anywhere. And trust me, I have tried to cull them as much as I could, but it just wasn't gonna happen. So I think I've done my best. I have got a lot of books on the floor here, which I'm going to unhaul for you right now. Okay, so I am sitting on my floor, ready to tackle this big pile of books to show you that I'm going to be unhauling. So first up is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. Now, this is like the folklore and the art from the Grisha universe. Now, with the best will in the world, I just know I'm not going to get to this, and I've had this book on my shelves for years. So I just thought, you know what, like, I'm not going to read this. I'm going to give it to a better home, and I do plan to sell all of the finished copies, but this is going to go, I'm afraid. I've not touched this since buying it, and I think that's a telltale sign of a book that's not going to get read. The next one's definitely a spontaneous purchase that I made several years ago. It is Tanya's Christmas by Tanya Burr, back when YouTuber books were like the biggest thing. I was having a really festive day out and saw this and just decided to buy it. Have I looked at it since? No, so it is going to be going. This is a Slytherin version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone that I bought at the YA Literature Convention. I don't really want to go into why I'm unhauling this. Let's just say I've fallen out of love with Harry Potter over the years. With the best will in the world, I will not be picking this up, and I've just lost the love for the series really, so I am going to be saying goodbye to this edition. Now the next book, I really grappled whether or not to unhaul or not, because I do really want to get into this series, but it is a proof copy of A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This is the sequel to An Ember in the Ashes, which I have read, but then I never read the sequel when it was gifted to me as a proof, and I just don't think I'm going to read it. With the best will in the world, I would love to read that series, but I just don't think I'm going to get around to it anytime soon. So it has to go. All proofs, by the way, I will be recycling, because you can't give proofs away to charities or sell them because they are not a saleable item. So these will be recycled. Likewise, Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi. I received this proof years ago and sadly have not picked it up. So I feel like with the best will in the world, I'm not going to be reading this anytime soon, and I am going to give it away. The next one is a proof copy of The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. So you will know that I have actually read this proof, and that's the reason why I am either going to give it away, like give it to someone that I know, or recycle, because I have got the beautiful Fairy Loot hardback of this. I don't need a second copy, I don't need a proof copy. I read the proof copy, I made a video about it, I've reviewed it, so I don't think I'll be needing this version anytime soon. Next up is Acts of Desperation by Megan Nolan. This is an adult fiction book that I got sent from the publishers a while back, and I haven't read it. And I think with books like this, I either am interested or I'm not. And I think it's quite telling that I've just not picked this up. So this one is going as well. Another YouTuber book. It is Zoe So's Cordially Invited. And this is a signed edition as well. Like, look, it's signed, which is lovely. I remember being really excited about this and pre-ordering it, but I don't do a lot of posting. And I really love Zoe's like content, but I don't think I need this book, so I am going to be selling it or giving it away. Now, this is also a kind of contentious one, because I was super excited about this book, but I'm just not in that space anymore. It is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is a signed edition I pre-ordered from the US, and I haven't read it, so it's going. And hopefully this can go to a better home of someone that will actually read it and enjoy it. The next one is Heart of Thorns by Brie Barton. This is a YA Beauty and the Beast retelling, which sounds awesome, but like, I think if I was excited about it, I would have read it by now, and this was just taking up space. It's been on my bookshelves for years, so it's saying goodbye. Okay, so this is another one where I'm like, oh, is this a good idea to get rid of it? But it is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. It is a beautiful special edition. I mean, look at this, it's stunning. But equally, I'm not that keen about rereading this book, and I'm not kind of keen to collect editions of this book. So I'm gonna give this one away as well. The next one is an unusual one because I did really enjoy this book when I read it. Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason, but at the same time I know I'm not going to reread it, and I don't really know what video I would keep this for where I need a physical copy to hold this up. So that's a main reason and consideration when I am keeping a book on my shelf. I'm like, am I likely to create content around this book? And for this one, I'm just not, so I'm going to be giving it away. Likewise, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I really actually enjoyed this book when I read it, but I'm not going to be rereading it, and I'm not going to be creating content about it. So I'm going to be putting it in the bin or giving it away. The next one is The Gifts by Liz Hyder. This is a proof copy that was kindly sent to me a while back. Again, it's been collecting dust on my shelf for a while, and I'm really sorry. Like, it really hurts me when I've been sent a proof copy and I'm unhauling it, because it's like, I know how expensive, like, proofs are expensive to make and everything, but at the same time, it's taking up space that I could be using for a book that I will enjoy and do want to keep. So I am going to be saying goodbye to this one. Then I'm also going to be saying goodbye to this series. So this is a proof copy of Witches Steeped in Gold by Kianan Smart and the sequel Empress Crowned in Red. This is awful, but I'm over YA, I think. Like, there are some YA which I'm really excited about and some YA that I definitely will read, but I'm just over the kind of like YA fantasy worlds. I know that's weird. I think I'm definitely just more of an adult reader now, and I know I'm not going to get to this series. The next books I'm getting rid of is another series. It is the Cursebreaker series. So this is a proof copy of A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and this is the sequel, A Heart So Fierce and Broken. So I've read both of these books and for the most part really enjoyed them, but I know I'm not going to be continuing the series. I know I don't really want to read the third book in the series because I didn't really like the direction the second book took. So I'm just going to say goodbye now, and like, I know I'm not going to be upset about not finishing the series off because it just wasn't really the right one for me. So I am going to be saying goodbye to these. The next one is a book that I've been meaning to read for ages, and I think the fact that I haven't yet just speaks volumes. It is Educated by Tara Westover. I don't read a lot of non-fiction, and when I do, it's more down the kind of self-improvement route, or kind of spiritual, or more like spiritual, or more motivational, or self-help. This is obviously a memoir, and I've been meaning to read it for so long, and I just haven't, so I think I need to say goodbye. Now this one is quite surprising, but I kind of held it and I was like, is this sparking joy to me? Do I want to keep this? And I thought no. It is Fangirl Special Edition, actually, by Rainbow Rowell. So this is a special collector's edition, and it is beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, like, look at this, absolutely stunning. But I'm not going to be rereading this book, and even though I enjoyed reading it at the time, like, I don't really need this on my shelf, so I'm going to be saying goodbye. Likewise, another book that I'm not going to be rereading, but one I actually really did enjoy, was How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. Now this is a kind of little sequel novella to the Folk of the Air series by Holly Black, which I really loved, and I really enjoyed this book as well. But I'm just not going to be rereading it. It's kind of sitting on my shelf collecting dust. I'm not going to be talking about this in my YouTube videos, so I do think it's time to let go. Another YA book that I had every intention of reading, but sadly just can't keep a hold of, is Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. So again, this is YA. Are you sensing a theme here? I am just feeling like I'm not in the YA mood anymore, and even though I've heard incredible things about this book, I just don't think I'm going to get around to reading it, so I'm saying goodbye. Likewise, a proof copy I got sent was Joy at Work, and this is by the Queen, Marie Kondo. But I don't know if I'm ever going to read this. Like, I don't know, like, this just doesn't really appeal to me anymore. So I think it is a proof, I'm going to recycle it. Some more YA, which I'm going to get rid of, is Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. I read this book and thought it was okay. It was strange going back to that world, but I have read this and I think I gave it like 3 stars or something. Like, obviously I used to be the biggest Twilight fan, but I've moved on, I'm a different person. So goodbye to Midnight Sun. Next up, I'm saying goodbye to some books that I've already read that I am not going to reread. So With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Read this, loved this. Not going to be including in videos, I don't think, so saying goodbye. The Other Ones by Fran Hart. Read this, loved this. Thought it was really great at the time, very autumnal, but I just don't think, again, I'm going to reread. And Enchanté by Gita Trellis. This is a YA kind of French revolutionary fantasy book. Not going to be rereading, so saying goodbye. And those are some of the books I'm going to be unhauling. I hope you agreed with some of my choices. Like, let me know if you think there's any of that selection I should be keeping, but I can't bring myself to regret it. I need the shelf space, you know, like I need to free up the space in my living room. So that is it for the unhaul, and that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it's inspired you to just give your bookshelves a little love, a little spring clean. I already feel so much better, a bit more clearer in my head, just knowing that I'm going to be getting rid of all of these books, you know, so it really does help. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.